Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Social Walking in Wisdom. And on this particular platform, we unpack Nollywood movies, consider the characters that are being portrayed, and do a little bit of a deep dive, break down the character, provide you with an analysis for your consideration. And the only thing we ask once you watch the movie and enjoy the movie, because we love eating and feasting on these movies, if you can relate to the character for better or for worse, you do the work. If you see some flaws that you can relate to, simply do the work in the privacy of your own home. The goal behind the character analysis is just to kind of unpack what's being stated and really present to you in a beautiful package what you can or cannot do in life and what is considered good or bad character. In the 21st century, in 2025, we say more than ever, character matters. When you know better, you should do better. And part of that doing better is setting a tone and setting an example. And part of setting an example is really if you desire someone to act in a particular way, whether as a spouse or as a friend, you have to display, you have to show them what that expectation look like because you have to be ready to do the same thing. So in this particular character analysis, we're going to unpack the nuances and identify the characters and break down the analysis and provide with a couple of recommendations. Recipe for trouble. And um I love the synergy between Sonia Uche and Desert Great. They also have great chemistry and synergy online. And one of my favorite movies with both of them is when they started with Ruth Kadiri in Ruth Kadiri 24/7 Head of House. It was again Desert Great playing someone with poor bad character. He was the wife of Ruth Kaderi's character, and Sonia Uji played the sister-in-law of Ruth Kaderi. And seeing some of the shenanigans that Desert Great's character did, including having a second woman, and Ruth Kaderi's character didn't see empowered enough to leave him for his bad behavior or really set him straight in terms of how she should be treated as his queen, as his first wife, or as his wife. Sonia's character certainly set it straight. So I love them together. They have great chemistry. This is not the first movie as well, but again, if you have not seen this one, it's a year old. We encourage you to do so. But today we're going to spend some time on Recipe for Trouble. It's not going to be a long analysis because really it's two main characters. And the character of Desert Great, well, he just had poor bad character. And at times when we meet people like that, we know who they are. We allow them in our lives anyway. And then when they perform and execute and do what they say they're going to do, we're surprised. Why are we expecting something different when someone shows us who they are? So that's part of life. And that I wouldn't say it's a male or female thing, but although most females may succumb to that type of behavior, and we call it settling. We prefer to settle with someone with bad or poor character than with no one at all or wait for the right person for us. So let's get into it a little bit further. But before we do so, we ask you to please subscribe to Sonia Uche's television on YouTube. She's at 980K. I think before the end of October, she's likely to get to 1 million. So we have something great to look forward to. So fan out, share, continue to do the great work that you have been doing from our very first YouTube upload. And for that, we say thank you. And for my platform, Social Walking in Wisdom is relatively new. If you have not subscribed, there are 3 reasons why you should subscribe. If you are Nollywood aficionado, meaning you love Nollywood, if you love Sonia Uche, and with her, you know you have good character and you know you can level up, you can do better now that you know better, and you're a man or woman of faith, we encourage you to join us on this transformational journey while looking at your favorite Nollywood movies, Nollywood actors and actresses, producers, directors, etc. So we encourage you to please subscribe if you have not done so already. Fan out, share with your family and friends, have them do the work. This is a great, wonderful tool if you know someone has, or you could relate one of the characters to someone you know, you could simply just send them the movie And the message is so deep within a lot of these movies that that person will likely get a message. Now, if they choose to act or not, that's a different story. But at least they will get the message or messages from the movie. And that's similar to what I do as a leadership coach when it comes to family, friends, and or individuals that reflect a character that I can relate to in one of the movies, I would send it to them. If there's a new client, I would send them a particular storyline that their story relates to. So we'll have something to discuss at the very beginning. This will allow the client to really feel more comfortable, when they're talking about someone else and not really about themselves. Until they get comfortable, their walls begin to come down, and now we can have a transparent, honest discussion when it comes to the coaching practice. And that's one way that I use the tools right here. Just simply looking at Nollywood movies. As I stated, I am a Nollywood aficionado, as absolutely. I have no bones about it. Today we have more than 22 videos, and 24 videos, and 22 of those videos are based on movies, and two is like saluting elders, men and women in Nollywood who you can relate to. So for many who say having good character, that's not possible. Well, we have men and women right there in Nollywood that are doing so and continue to do so and so. And you have individuals such as Sonia Uche herself, who is continuing to pave that way as well. So this particular platform was started based on a character that Sonia Uche herself, the real life Sonia Uche herself was portraying as based on a social media digital footprint. So here we have Sir Uchenna Mimbunabo. What I've done was consider the letter that Sonia Uche wrote to him as a friend, as a brother, during his birthday, and she saluted him, and we unpacked that letter. If you have not seen it, we encourage you to do so. And then we also considered Uche Nancy in terms of the great mom and producer that she is, and the great, beautiful women that she has raised, and always stellar character indeed. Now to unpacking the two characters from Recipe for Trouble. Let's consider Desert a great character, charming, handsome, and he's an expert at appearing like the perfect gentleman. He has a way of swooning and wooing women, so they're coming in and out of his home every night like a bus stop. And so this is definitely telling someone like this lacks emotional depth, and they're not in touch with their emotions, and they fear genuine commitment. And he really sees women as temporary companions, collectibles, building his collectibles, and derives his self-worth from the constant validation of new conquests. And he can certainly make grand promises and very easily do not fulfill them, and it will not bother him. That is bad or poor character. So he's the type of man who, in his own mind, is doing nothing wrong. He simply believes in living in the moment. And that's great as a single man, but as a single man, you still must have integrity and character. Let your yea be a yea and let your nay be a nay. There's no excuse in saying I'm single and I'm ready to mingle. You can mingle and still have character, right? Let your yes be a yes, let your no be a no, and be ready to set the record straight. Absolutely, indeed. And then you have Sonia Uche's character. She's Janet. She's an aspiring entrepreneur working closely with her mom, had her dreams, and um, she was on a slight detour based on her brief, intimate relationship with Dez's character. I wouldn't even call it a relationship, but in her mind, if I'm going to give up my virginity, um, we're married. And she carried that saying too much of the movie. And in some cultures, she would absolutely be right, right? So her brief detour with this relationship wasn't necessarily a sign of weakness, but a moment of misguided hope. Who doesn't want to be loved? Who doesn't desire to be loved? Right? So in her mind, she fell for the fantasy that he sold her. And not because she was naive, but because she saw a glimpse of what she desperately wanted in life, which definitely could be a partner. And I would say, even under those circumstances, when you make the poor decision, even when you see what's going on before your eyes, and if you don't allow your eyes to dictate to you what is really going on, and you decide to be a little deceptive to yourself, then you could find yourself in this position. But this is no judgment, right? Whether you choose a partner or not, but be prepared to deal with the consequences. And sometimes it's better to delay, regardless of what people are saying or society is saying, than to end up with the wrong person indeed. So when she realized um, this person wouldn't change, the initial heartbreak was quickly replaced by a quiet, simmering rage. And instead of leaving, she really fought for the title of wife out of a stubborn belief that she deserved the life she was promised. And a promise should be a promise, except for a person with poor bad character, a promise is not a promise. A promise is just an okay for now until I get what I want. So it wasn't an act of defiance, a way of proving to him and herself that she couldn't be discarded easily. However, living with the daily humiliation and emotional distance slowly eroded her resolve. And the final turning point wasn't a big fight, but a quiet, clear moment of realization. Her worth wasn't tied to a title or to his broken promises. It was indeed tied to her own strength, her own dreams, and the life she had worked so hard to build. And her decision to leave quietly wasn't a failure. It was a triumph act of self-respect. And her decision to pursue her dream of being a restaurant owner and then starting on social media and promoting herself with little or no experience speaks volumes of her character. So not only she was a great chef, and she was great at house cleaning. She ended up being and proving that indeed she was a force to be reckoned with as a businesswoman. And while I'm not going to tell you how the story ended, if you didn't watch the movie, so that means you have to watch the movie, it clearly shows that in life, there are some people who are okay with bad, good character. There are no moral compass. And the question is, if you do have a moral compass, are you willing to spend time? Are you willing to put up with their poor character? And for me, the only answer as a leadership coach is lead your feet to right choices, righteousness, and say no because I am valued. And when you know better, you do better and you choose better, even if that means a delay in becoming or having your life partner or being married. And this goes for both male or female. There are people in this world that just have poor, bad character, and you know it when you see it, period. And if you're able to separate professional from personal to a certain extent, fine. But for me personally, I probably wouldn't necessarily work with someone with bad character because that could jeopardize my business and my practice. However, if the person's a client and they are doing the work to try to get better and they see the wrong of their ways and they're willing to put in the work, there is a month by month, week by week, day by day decision on how far we can go with the progress, with the work that that person is willing to put in, right? But in terms as a husband, wife material or friend material, if you know someone has poor character and they're 30 and older and 40 and older and still acting with bad character, that's who that person is. And believe it. Believe it that that's the person that you're seeing before you. And there's nothing that you can do can change it, right? And the only person that can change it, if you wills it, is through the Ruach HaKodesh, the Holy Spirit, and that is the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So yes, you could keep that person in prayer if you're a man or woman of faith, and if you care about that person, if that person is a friend, if that person is a family member, prayers. But love them and pray with a distance, from a distance, I should say. Do it from a distance. Otherwise, you will get hurt. And you have to be prepared to deal with the consequences. So that concludes this analysis for Recipe for Trouble and understanding. First of all, the movie was great, beautiful storyline, and love the acting. Again, I love the on-screen chemistry between Desiree Great and Sonia Uche herself. Let's give her her flowers. Let's give her her flowers indeed. Again, we'll ask you if you have not subscribed, please be sure to subscribe and let's move forward and getting this YouTube platform to other individuals that you believe can learn and glean from just simply doing the work. And again, it's not an insult. No one is perfect. We all have flaws. The question is, are we doing the work? And I could only hope and pray that you are indeed. Thank you for watching another episode of Social Walking Wisdom. Until the next time, be good to yourself and to each other. And as always, shalom.